Hi, everyone. Good evening and welcome to the Strand Theatre's Green Room and our Green Room Artist Chat. My name is Brittany Parker. I'm the Strand Theatre's Education Manager, and I'm so delighted to be here with you tonight. Thank you for watching with us. We're really excited about this Green Room Artist Chat series because it gives you the chance to get to know some of the artists that we're presenting, whether that's here on our stage in Rockland, Maine, which is the traditional land of the Wabanaki people, or in our virtual space, as we have our virtual family series season. It's all virtual this year, but we're so excited to have some amazing programs streaming. And this first one we have is really, it's charming. It's brilliant. I can't say enough about how much I love this piece. And I do want to say up front here that, you know, I know it's been a tough week for all of us, the events in the news. You know, our hearts are with the people in Atlanta and in Boulder. And it's times like this where if you're like me, you're watching the news and you're thinking, wow, I wish there was something that I could do. I wish that I could make a change. I want to help. Well, lucky for us, the very first show in our Strand Family series is called Curious, Think Outside the Pipeline, and it's a musical from the folk duo Ants on a Log, who are based in Philadelphia. And this is a musical, while yes, it might be geared for younger ages, it's really for everyone. And they walk you through not only what it means to be an activist, but how to take these steps, how to become curious about the world around you, curious about how you can change it, and things that you can do to actually make that happen. And they do it all in a fun, DIY, charming puppet film. Yes, they've turned their musical into a puppet film, and that is what we are streaming for the next 2 weeks here at the Strand Theatre. So you can head to rocklandstrand.com and you can get your pay what you can ticket. That's $0 to $20, your choice. And you can go to rocklandstrand.com, get your ticket, watch this brilliant show. And maybe some of you out there who are watching have already watched the show, and you might have some questions for our special guest. We are talking to Julie B. of Ants on a Log tonight. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. So if at any point in time you have questions, you have comments, you want to talk to either Julie or myself, you can type right into the comments there on Facebook and on YouTube. We get to see those comments here in our stream, and we'll try to get all those questions answered for you. So before we bring Julie out, let me go ahead and share the trailer with you for Curious, Think Outside the Pipeline, just in case you haven't had a chance to check out this amazing puppet film for yourself. Here we go.
I didn't have asthma when I moved here.
72% of all the pollution in our city is caused from this oil refinery.
This is the story of two siblings, Cleo and Taylor, who like to ask questions and to figure out answers.
Curious, I'm so curious. Why does it make my mom and stepdad so furious?
Ah, yes, the oil refinery. Well,
Yeah,
did I ever tell you about the time I just had this amazing invention? You just have to wait. Just wait a second. Peanut butter and, wait for it, jelly. Now, I know you've never heard of that.
Don't think you invented that.
Curious, I'm so curious. Why does it make my mom and stepdad so furious?
We've got to get this thing built. The faster, the better.
Build more things!
Yeah!
We don't want your jobs.
There are other ways to make energy. Come on, Taylor. We've got to get to work.
Curious, we're so curious. What kind of changes are we gonna make?
Just curious.
We should look into that.
We're so curious.
Wait, so we have to read the whole internet?
I think so. Okay, we better get started.
And with us now is Julie B. from Ants on a Log. I cannot help but giggle as I watch that preview. Thank you so much for being here, Julie.
Thank you so much for having me.
I really, as I said, have just been so charmed by your musical and by the film. But for those people out there who are watching and may not know too much about Ants on a Log, can you fill us in a little bit, tell us a little bit about the band and what you all do?
Yeah, sure. So we are based in Philadelphia. We play socially conscious music for children and families. And I like to picture, families are hanging out at home or driving in the car. And, sometimes you just need some music that's going to align with your values. You don't always want to be listening to Twinkle Twinkle. Sometimes you got to listen to The Man in Charge is Useless. You got to start them young,
I love that song. I feel like that is something that everyone can get behind. The Man in Charge is Useless. We've all felt that way. I love that you are thinking in this way in making this music for not only young people, but for big people too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really important to us that people of all ages like it. We don't want adults to have to listen to, kids' music that's annoying or, I think that kids' music talks down to kids a lot, and they can handle concepts,
Definitely. They can handle big concepts. And a lot of these songs, it gets conversations started.
Right.
That, as a parent, you may not be sure how to talk about this thing, but here's this brilliant song we can listen to first that can break it down in a certain way. So that's really just such a gift that your music brings. And how did Ants on a Log get started in the first place? How did it come to be?
Yeah, so Anya and I met, we realized we were both musicians and we were playing music for, our friends, just silly songs we would write. It had never occurred to us that maybe children would like these songs. So once we got together and started trading songs, we realized, you know what? These songs are probably for kids. And adults would appreciate them too. And we also just were both very passionate about using music to sing about the things that we think are important. We're really interested in supporting lots of causes. Specifically, we had already been writing songs about the environment, about gender, all sorts of, like allyship concepts that we just think music can deliver better than talking sometimes.
Oh, absolutely. And young people, I think are so drawn to music and are able to listen to it in a different way than just, talking about something might allow for. And also, I think they also respond to puppets, which is why I think it's so brilliant that you had this beautiful, amazing musical that you were performing as a musical, right? That's how Curious started out. Is that correct?
Yes, this was a happy accident that the puppets happened. Thank you, pandemic. It was a 12-person musical. We originally did it in 2016, and then Anya and I crafted it into a 2-person musical where she and I performed all 12 characters. And then there we were on our way to Maine to perform at your very theater when the pandemic hit. I said, how will we do this? And there are puppets.
Yes, and the puppets are brilliant, although we also would have loved to have seen the two of you performing 12 different characters, I think.
Yeah, maybe next year.
Maybe next year. I would love that. So what was that process like? Here you have this musical, this now 2-person musical that you have been performing and you had created a great soundtrack to. And then, so what was the process like for taking all of that great music and turning it into this visual film?
Yeah, well, I had to really figure out what it was going to look like. I had no concept of how this could be a movie, but I have a great artist friend, Emily Schumann, and I knew that she was really good at this kind of brainstorm and making both 2D art and also things like puppets. She has a history, like a lot of history with being a prop artist. I think they call it a prop master, actually.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Prop master Emily. And it's just a really cool, artful thought partner. So so we thought about, well, who could be a puppet? The man in charge, the senator, ended up just being like a 2D, sort of like ominous being.
Yes, very 2D, very appropriate.
Yeah,
yes.
We just thought about like what would make sense and what would be fun for us to do. And then, I loved revisiting the characters. I felt like I had met them before when we did the soundtrack. Anya and I recorded the soundtrack back in 2019 and 2018, and we had all sorts of friends like Lucy Kalantari and Kathy O'Connell and John McCutcheon. We were like, can you record these lines for us? And that felt like years ago. And now I was making them all into puppets, So I wasn't making the puppets, but I was maneuvering the puppets to their voices. And it was just such a wild process. It was cool because I was lonely. It was during the pandemic, and I was making a movie. I was making it by myself with Emily's art. And then, so I felt like I had these friends in the room with me, and I would text Lucy and be like, I'm making you a puppet right now to talk and walk.
They're here with me. They are my new roommate.
I am so grateful that we had the soundtrack made already, and we just needed to, lay the visual on top of that soundtrack.
And the soundtrack is so well done. It's really, it really makes the difference. As someone who works with sound, just having that top quality recording to accompany everything, it was really just the icing on the cake.
Thank you. I cannot imagine making the movie and the music at the same time. How do people do that? I don't know. Maybe next project.
Maybe next pandemic. I don't know. Oh no. So with this musical and now with the film that you've made, as families are watching this together, and I think the hope is kind of that kids and parents can watch together, or intergenerational viewing. What's something that you hope that families can take away from this project?
Yeah, I agree. I really, really hope people are watching this together, because I want it to be like Shrek. The adults get it on one level, the kids get it on the other level.
Yes.
I remember watching Shrek. I was probably, that was a long time ago. I don't know how old I was, but I was like, oh, this is what it's like to watch a movie as an adult and still sort of know what the kids are thinking a little bit. So I hope that happens. And as you said, I hope that it sparks conversations. I hope that adults say, oh, here's a thing that this is a way to be in community, or this is a way to create change, or to make something better. And then, the kids think of a thing in their own school or their own neighborhood, and then they can have a conversation about that based on what they just learned or what they just experienced through the movie. And I think, we've always been trying to get it out there that there's not really one answer. And that's what we really want people to get away from Curious. We were saying this at the very beginning when we made the soundtrack and everything, that, we really didn't want to say, this is the answer to climate change, or this is the answer to mansplaining, or this is the answer to anything. We're really just saying it's about how you get the answer. So I hope that people walk away thinking, well, how am I coming to solutions in my life? Am I talking to community, or am I just, deciding top down, this is the answer? And hopefully this shows that there's a joyful rainbow puppetry community that you need to be talking to and, working with in order to find any answer.
Yeah, I think with that being your goal, I think you achieved it with this piece, at least from my perspective. Check, did it. At least from my perspective as an adult watching this who cares about several issues and often has that feeling of like, what can I do? How should I go about this? Just the concept, we were talking about this earlier before we went live, but the concept of curiosity, of just framing it in the sense that you can be curious about a problem, you should be curious about the solution. And that curiosity, when you think of the word curious, you think of joy, you think of exploring. And so to have that kind of positivity connected to perhaps issues that do not feel so positive, makes more solutions feel possible.
Yes.
In a joyful way. So I took that away from your piece, and I'm very thankful to you and to Emily and Anya for, and all of your collaborators for creating this piece and putting it out in the world.
Thank you. Yeah, and I think it's like we need to be curious about what the solutions are. We also need to be curious about who we are solving these problems with, and I think that that was a parallel process. We have a pandemic. How will we make curious? And I was like, who should I ask? Let me think about who's around me.
Yeah.
Parallel process of the movie.
I love that. It's great. So yes, you turned this brilliant musical into a film because of the pandemic. Obviously, we would have loved to have had you here in person this weekend. Oh, that would have been so great. But like we said, hopefully someday soon. But pandemic life in general just turned live music, turned the whole live arts thing on its head, turned it upside down. We haven't been able to have live performances here. So I'm curious to just hear a little bit of your reflections on that. Like, if you could share one thing that you felt like is a silver lining, this is something I never would have thought to do. And then one thing that you've really missed that's really kind of stuck out to you.
Yeah, I have so many answers to this. Well, a silver lining, I think, was just all the collaboration that happened. We collaborated. I mean, you and I and Anya and Emily and I, we all collaborated to make this movie, which I wouldn't have done, if it wasn't the pandemic. And just that creative thinking was really generative. I collaborated with a lot of people to make the trans and non-binary kids mix, which, we'll talk about in a minute. And, I'm so glad I went down all these rabbit holes of like, how can we make art instead of just canceling art?
Yeah.
And now I feel like there's just way more. Strangely enough, I feel like I have such a community that I wouldn't have had. You and I are both active with Family Music Forward, which is amplifying Black artists and children's music. And I would have never known about that community or had that community had we not all come together, not in person. I can't believe it. The thing that I really miss is really just singing harmony with people. Oh, I just want to sing harmony.
Wow, that hit me in the feels. Yes, I definitely miss that a lot too. And post-show high fives.
Yes.
I really miss the post-show high fives, and I'm not sure when those are going to come back. Those might not come back for a while.
Yes. I remember the last hug that I gave before the pandemic was what a category.
What a
last
category
hug you gave was as I went to a Trout Fishing in America concert, and Kathy O'Connell was hosting it, and I gave a hug to Ezra from Trout Fishing, and probably Kathy too. And the next day everyone was like, okay, no more hugging.
Don't hug anymore. Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Right.
Well, we'll get back to it. We'll get back to all of that.
Post-show post-show parties, post-show hugs.
It's gonna happen. It's out there. It's in the ether. It's gonna be coming up.
It's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen. But speaking of things that are coming up, I would love to hear what else you and or Ants are working on. What's coming up for?
Yeah. Another silver lining is I've just been doing a lot of stuff because, I'm home. I have a lot of answers to this. So first of all, the thing I'm really excited for is that schools can perform Curious. So if you've watched the movie or you're going to watch the movie soon and you're interested in bringing this to your school or your camp, reach out and we'll send you the script. We'll send you the backing tracks. And your theater director can get in touch.
That's so great. And here's a little.
Yeah.
Bring it to your school.
You can show the movie at your library, school, festival, or you can actually get the script and actually the kids there can perform. Both are available on our website.
How fun.
Yeah.
It's so fun to perform this musical. I think that is so generous of you, and I hope people take you up on that.
Thank you. One of the highlights of my career was watching kids. Actually, they were going to perform it, and then the pandemic hit, and then they performed some of it on Zoom. It was unbelievable. Even just watching them on Zoom perform, they sang a few songs for us, and some of them dressed up in costume. It was really the highlight of my career.
Oh, that's awesome.
So another thing that I'm excited about is I just released Had to Stand Up. And this is a song about a white kid who stands up against racism when he sees it on the playground. And there's a discussion guide too that I made with a very amazing and prolific professor, Mara Sapon-Chevin. And she is an educator. She's a professor of inclusion and anti-racism, and she teaches educators. So we collaborated, another collaboration that, probably wouldn't have happened.
Perfect, yeah.
In the pandemic. And we're hoping that people will use this in educating white kids so we can, raise up some white anti-racist kids. And it's also just useful for classrooms in general. So if anybody uses that, we are collecting stories of how you use that with your students or with your kids. Educators, parents can get in touch with us. It's a free resource on our website. So just go download the song and the discussion guide, How to Stand Up, and let us know, was this useful? How did you use it? We gotta be taking ownership of that as white people.
Exactly. Yeah. And I believe the your website link is in the comments. So everybody head to the comments, check that out. And I hear you're also hosting dance parties. Is this true? I love a good dance party.
So after the trans and non-binary kids mix came out last summer, we had a bunch of dance parties. I'm calling them kids mix music parties. And we make art together. We write songs together. It's all about expressing ourselves, celebrating the music of these trans and non-binary and a few allies on the mix. And within that, we have some stellar dance parties. So we're also booking more of those. I'm really excited because those are really fun. And it's like this thing where you're on Zoom, but it's not like boring Zoom. It's like dance party Zoom.
Right. So those are the best Zooms.
Exactly. The best Zooms are dance party Zooms.
So I actually brought up this mix so that we could share the website with all of you.
Oh, great.
So I definitely had many dance parties to this mix throughout the summer. I was so pumped about it. There are so many good songs on this list. And can you tell us a little bit? I mean, I know you said collaboration was such, a key silver lining of this pandemic, but it seems like you'd probably been working on this even before the pandemic. There are so many collaborators. Can you talk about what it was like to bring so many folks together for this?
It came together really quickly. I was just lonely. It was the pandemic. I couldn't go to camp. I usually go to camp every summer. I'm assistant director at Camp Aeronautic, which is a camp for trans and non-binary youth. And I was sad. And I assumed that the campers, and counselors, all of our community, we were all sad too. And so I thought, how can we connect? And I knew that music was just a way, we always talk about music at camp, and we were always so excited when we, find someone who's speaking our truth in media, in any form of media, music, a movie. You see somebody on stage who's like you, and you think, oh, this person is like me, and that's really important for kids to feel, a sense of belonging and connection. And so I thought, you know what, we can't connect in person at camp, so why don't I make a mix of music? And I put out a call, and I could not believe how many people reached out. It was awesome.
Wow.
I hadn't really been working on it before the pandemic, although I had the idea of something like it, because the kids are always so inspiring to me at camp. They show that what is really important, they can speak or they can sing in such sometimes surprising and deep ways. So I always knew, there's something about music going on here. So to make this collection was just kind of the culmination of that thought process. And then it was so awesome meeting all these people. I ended up reading Vivek Shraya's book. I ended up listening to a lot more of B. Steadwell. I mean, these artists are amazing. The Alphabet Rockers, I knew that I mean, all these people have been making music for so long, and they just needed to be collected. You know, I could go on. I could name all of them. So I won't.
They're all wonderful. This is definitely worth a listen, and you can find the link from your website, but it's hosted by Bandcamp. And if you're on the Bandcamp website, like you'll see over here on the right, you'll also get other cool Ants on a Log tunes that are there. But I thought, since we have the website up, we might as well have a little mini dance party right here, right now. Is that cool with you, Julie?
The best Zooms are the best dance parties.
Awesome. All right, let's get this first track playing. And all of you at home, feel free to move in your seat.
I know they try to tell you you have to wear these clothes, but they're just trying to sell you things, cause that's the way it goes. The truth is you can wear that, just think outside the box. Sometimes these rules can tie you up, so let's undo these knots. Your body is your own, you can decorate it how you like. No matter what your body parts, you're a beautiful sight. No fuss, no fuss. We dress up and dance cause we're fabulous. No fuss, no muss. We dress up and dance cause it's good for us. No pain, no shame. We make our own games and choose our own names. No fuss, no muss. We dress up and dance cause we're fabulous.
I would like to wear this.
She would like to wear this. Go ahead, don't need no reason why. I would like to wear this. He would like to wear this. Go ahead and lift your arms up to the sky. No fuss, no fuss. We dress up and dance cause we're
We'll pause it there, but woo, what a jam.
Yes, I was just gonna type in the chat that that song is by Hannah Rothman, and Hannah Rothman is a predecessor to this mix because she made the Rainbow Train, and anybody watching may remember the Rainbow Train from many years ago, which is a huge, another amazing collection of gender-affirming kids music. It's just, what a collection of people.
So amazing. And everybody coming together in this family music industry, that has been such a silver lining, as you said,
yes,
to this whole thing, and just getting to know more of those folks and getting closer to you, Julie. You know, this has been us. We've been almost 2 years that we've been working on, you know, trying to plan and get you here to the Strand. And I feel so lucky that we've gotten to become friends during that time. And, you know, thank you again so much for doing all this work and turning this beautiful musical into this charming, hilarious puppet film. I hope everybody watches, and hopefully we can have you here in person real soon.
Thank you, Brittany. Right back at you. And yeah, everybody, thank you for being here. And all these comments are just making me smile so much.
Oh, good. Well, thanks again, Julie, and we'll hope to have you here real soon.
I'm coming soon.
Yay! Getting in the car. Here we go. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for being with us tonight. We do hope that you will watch Curious, Think Outside the Pipeline. It is available now through April 4th. It's streaming, and you can obtain your Pay What You Can ticket, $0 to $20, on our website, rocklandstrand.com. Thank you so much, everyone. Take care of yourself and each other. Bye-bye.